Well, it's easiest to say he was my brother-in-law. But he and my baby sister never married and then broke up, so Joe became my ex-almost brother-in-law, father of my niece. He is good at that. Joe loves that girl. I was there with him when she was born. He was 43, old for a first-time daddy. Joe never expected such happiness in his life, and then there she was. She's 22 now, that little girl. His Persian princess, he calls her. That first time I met him, I sized him up, like the best older sisters do. I was, I admit now, a bit set against him. My sister, divorced, was newly pregnant, her first and, as it turned out, her only. We meet in the bleak one-bedroom apartment he shares with Sis. It is still his place, not yet hers or theirs. Functional, a bachelor pad without padding. No place for a baby. But Joe wants to show me what else he is, because he sees right away what I am thinking, because he knows he is more than I, the skeptical sister, see. And I can see. I can see a drinker, a gambler, a druggie when I meet them sober, far from the track, the slots, the table, the pipe, the bottle. I can size a man up, see what he doesn't want to show. I developed the superpower from childhood, from our mother's many men. Plus, I can do math, and this is a complicated equation. Joe is 18 years older than my sister, 6 years older than me. Of course, he is good-looking, tall and dark, all bold shoulders, bright flinty smile, plus an accent. My sister loves accents. Who doesn't? She takes after our mother, a creamy blonde. They stand there, the two of them, smiling, meaning well, hoping, wanting my approval. So, after some small talk that fails to get any bigger, Joe, nervous, eager, brings out a sheaf of newspaper clippings, by then over a decade old, kept with care in a file folder, but beginning to crisp, to age. He offers me the file. The articles tell a story that Joe hopes will redeem him, for he sizes me up too. We are close in age, after all, and care about the same things. And he's right. I'm already impressed that he cut these articles out of newspapers. He reads, he pays attention, he values words that tell important stories. He saves them as if in the saving lies another kind of salvation. The clippings tell the story of Nusha Farahi. Like Joe, he immigrated from Iran in the 70s to study at UCLA before the '79 revolution that brought Khomeini to power. Farahi was a poet. His family owned an Iranian bookstore on Westwood Boulevard, not far from Joe's apartment. In 1987, when he was 31, Farahi set himself on fire during a demonstration at the LA Westside Federal Building to protest the United Nations visit of Iran's president and U.S. foreign policy. The LA Times coverage lacks the shocking images the Farsi-language newspapers published. Farahi's standing, arcing body in full profile, engulfed in flame, feet bare, mouth open. In the photos, most look away. I was there, Joe says, tapping the papers with force. I knew him. I saw it. I won't forget it. Farahi died 2 weeks later, an agonizing death. Of course, I remembered. It was big news. Years later, an artist friend of mine, Mark Vallon, would create an oil painting of that moment, Man on Fire, inspired by the photographs and the Mexican muralist Orozco's Man of Fire. Vallon recognized the moral obligation to memorialize Farahi's act, the enduring power of a haunting image which he also saw as a blazing metaphor of the human suffering caused by war and repression. And I'd been to many protests at that same federal building. I took my little sister, gave her signs demanding peace and justice to carry. Maybe, I remarked to Joe, we have been at some of the same protests, marched together. Maybe, he says. Now, Joe is where his dying friend was treated. The university hospital rebranded with the name of the American president they both despised, Ronald Reagan, UCLA Medical. Joe is in the ICU, on a ventilator, in an agony we imagine but, due to COVID restrictions, cannot witness. His body a metaphor for another kind of human suffering, a moral failure of government to protect its people. We can't look away or forget. Joe has the virus that has killed almost 2 million globally, nearly 400,000 in the U.S., the country Joe has lived in since he came here as a student with his American dreams. Then he was Mossayeb from Iran, a young man, his adult life just beginning. He is 65 now. When I began writing this, Joe was alive.